All right, everybody, welcome to the video. This is for you if you're a man, a father, or if you know a man or a father. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how men and fathers have led humanity into the dark ages. Most men and fathers are the reason that society is in shambles and that the world is going in the way that it is. But we can fix it. We can fix it, and we will fix it because we're going into a golden age, and men are finally waking up. The solution will surprise and delight you if you're a man or a father, and if you're a woman or or a daughter of a dad or something like that. Listen up, because you'll start to notice the shift that's taking place in your father, and it'll be something that'll give you a lot of peace and comfort. So today I'm going to be talking about how we as men caused the fall of the species as men and fathers, and I'm going to talk about how we are saving humanity and building the foundations of the golden age. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment below. Do all that great stuff. I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all you guys that come through. And Azariah Sandman, Two Duels, many of the other wonderful. There was another one that came regularly. I'm going to remember your name by the end of the video. I'm just going to say shout out to you. But anyway, I'm going to start with the Bible verse because we always want to put God first. And, the reason we have the Bible is because we have the church. The church has corrupted our experience of God. God is something that you had a relationship from the moment you came into this world. You knew God better than you know God now. And this is just a fact. But at the time, you didn't have the words to describe your connection with God, your relationship with God. So, as you grew up, you learned from your parents, from your society, from all these people around you that led you astray, led you into darkness, led you into fear and Satanism. Real Satanism, not Church of Satan Satanism, but real Satanism, which was apostasy, distance from God, and distrust in life. Distrust in life is satanic to its core. All right, so let's read this beautiful Bible verse in Proverbs 22, verse 6. Start children off in the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not depart from it. This is probably the NIV because it's a shitty translation. So let's do this from memory. Train up a child in the way that he should go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it. The he applies to male and female children. If you've just been introduced to English, which many English speakers have, especially since now we've got to genderize everything. Tenderize. All right, so anyway, so in the discussion, I'm responding to a wonderful comment made by probably a father, definitely a man. He sounded like a man. Anyway, let me get my camera set up here real nice like. All right, I hope the colors are good in there. All right, so Mr. Jerry Huggins, OS2OS, I responded to your comment. Thank you for putting it in there. And by the way, thank you everyone for the comments. Even those of you guys who may not agree with me. And pardon me, Jerry, if I seemed a little bit snarky. I really wasn't attacking you. I was really more attacking the ideas that are promoted by society that, yes, men are accountable. Okay, we're accountable for everything because we represent the head of God. All right. Now, women are the neck. Head and neck cannot be separated. If you have a head without a neck, not a good thing. If you have a neck without a head, not a good thing. Like man and woman are right and left hand, head and neck. We cannot play this stupid game of equality. The neck is not equal to the head. They both serve different functions, and they're part of one body. Just as the right and left hand are the one body of Christ. Hallelujah. All right, praise his name. I'm going to turn off that other light because the color in here is not what I want it to be. Woo! I don't know. That's all right. Whatever. You guys can see and hear me. That's good enough. I always try to make things perfect, and God doesn't want things to be perfect. God wants things to be functional, useful, and that's perfection. All right. Anyway, and beautiful and harmonious. God is the greatest. Allahu Akbar. All right. So, men have caused the fall of species. Let's read what Jerry Huggins had to say 2 hours ago. It says it was probably 4 hours by now because I've been working. It was on the video that I posted, the short that seems to be kind of catching on. It's got a good, decent number of viewers. Anyway, so Jerry Huggins said, he's talking about physical harm. I have daughters, I feel the same way. And this is in relation to some bearded guy talking about how he would kill and hide the bodies of his sons-in-law if they ever put their hands on his daughters. Okay. And so this is an address to that. I basically said, I actually put a whole video out about it, but I said, listen, if men are the reason that women don't have accountability, like, I mean, okay, and I'm speaking generally, but I've been around the world, like literally around the globe, got more travel set up this year. Women are exceptionally accountable in certain cultures where they are expected to be accountable. Okay. In the West, because women are pretty, and they're pretty all over the world. All women are beautiful, by the way. Every single woman that has XX chromosomes and has the genitalia to match is beautiful, and even some of the ones that don't have the genitalia to match. But to be woman is to be beautiful, and this is my belief. You don't have to agree. That's fine. But a lot of women in the West have been taught, well, because you are a female, because you're a woman, you don't have to be accountable. You can pass the buck to someone else. Statements like, mama always knows best, and happy wife, happy life. You know the real saying, it's not happy wife, happy life, it's happy wife, pain and strife. That's the real saying. But people don't say that because I made it up. Happy wife, pain and strife. You don't need to live to make your wife happy. You need to live to praise God, to please God. And if your wife's on that, she will be at peace. She will be happy. She will be joyful. She'll be delightful. She'll be beautiful. She'll be sexy. She'll be all those great things because she's a woman of God, and all women of God are exceptional. So anyway, Jerry Hugans, who I get what you're saying, bro. But so he said that this guy who's threatening violence to his future son-in-laws, he says that he agrees. He said, you know, this guy's talking about physical harm. I have daughters. I feel the same way. Well, there are a lot of men that feel this way, but a lot of men have been taught to be mindless, mediocre brutes, idiots, violent brutes. And men are the primary cause of death to other men when it comes to violence. You know, and to themselves, you know, men, you know, self-delete or remove themselves from the senses far more effectively than women. Part is that men have better follow-through, sorry to say, but it's also just because, you know, men have been taught to hate what they are. And again, I'm generalizing. I'm speaking from my own experience, and I'm speaking from the experience of many men that I've known. So my response to this statement was, of course, physical harm is an obvious no-no, right? We get it. But as men and fathers, it's time for us to mature and refine our intelligence. We must actually protect our daughters. Beating the shit out of a guy that put his hands on your daughters, you deserve to go to jail. You're stupid. You're dumb. Okay? And look, if you came to this beautiful message that I'm sharing, this beautiful gospel from heaven that I'm sharing, you came to it now, to this beautiful gospel that the Lord has brought to me to bring to you late, and your daughters are already adults, okay, you know, I'm sorry, love them, hold them accountable, you know. But prevention is better than punishment. Which would you rather? Dad, father, man? Would you rather avenge your daughter of violence that she provoked? Or would you prefer to lovingly and wisely prevent her from ever having the trauma of that violent experience? Paraphrasing now. Apex males and geopolitical Christian fathers love and lead with higher intelligence. We give our daughters the tools to protect themselves. If we need to interfere on behalf to protect beyond prevention, we do so with severity, intensity, and precision. Okay? Now, look, I've taught my daughter how to deal with things. Her mother does, you know, excuse me. Women don't have, excuse me. Okay, I'm cleaning this up. Some of these people, I don't give a fuck. They're going to watch it. It is what it is. Listen, women don't have the tools to teach women how to deal with men. They just don't. They're good about teaching women how women deal with men, but they're not good about like teaching women how to deal with men dealing with women. Let me clear that up, okay? Let me clear this up. Because I said that in a very confusing way, so pardon me. A mother cannot teach her daughter what's going through a man's head and how to face and interface with that thing that's going on in a man's head. That's why women need fathers. Why do you think that glorrillas and these other types are not, you know, they're the epitomes of women that grew up without strong fathers? Ivanka Trump a perfect example of a refined lady. Perfect example of a refined lady. A refined lady, right? A Claire Huxtable type woman. That's a refined lady who grew up with a father who she knows is going to protect her, but she also has learned of him, watched him, and seen how men deal with the world. And so she knows as a woman how to counteract that because women are exceptionally powerful. Exceptionally powerful, right? They're exceptionally powerful. I'm learning from Donald Trump how to do the hand gestures. Exceptionally powerful. Women are exceptionally powerful, okay? And so when a woman grows up with a man who is a man and has a wife or a woman beside him, whether it's whatever, who cares what the name of the relationship is? This is a man and a woman together raising a female child. She looks up at that interaction and she gets to see a real man dealing with a woman. And what does she look for? A real man. And if she's dealing with a real man, she's not gonna deal with a man who's gonna put his hands on her. I mean, that's perverse. And if it happens, like look, it's not right, it's not right, it's not right. All right, so I'll make a video about this later on. So a lot of men, I'm going to get into why men have been the main cause of society's failures and why we've fallen into such a low state. Because the same men who will like beat the shit out of a guy for touching their daughter or putting their hands on a woman won't love themselves enough or respect themselves enough or prepare their daughters to see this stuff ahead of time and cut the man out of her life before it even gets there. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so how have men been the cause of the fall of our species? I already talked about our Mr. Jerry Hugmans. And by the way, Jerry, thank you for your comment, man. I'm going to put this video and respond to you with the video. Dude, I get it. You know, we want to protect our daughters. We want to be good guys, but good guys are the detriment of humanity. Good guys have destroyed the species. Good guys got to go. We need righteous men. We need righteous men. Fuck good guys. God doesn't give a shit about good guys. God feeds good guys into the damn thing that you know when you make hamburgers. You know what I'm talking about. That's what God does with good people, good men. All right, it's just a fact. It says it in the Bible. Read Isaiah 45:7. You think if you think you know God, stop going to church. Go out in the wilderness. Look under the stars. Okay? Deal with what God created, nature and society. And you'll see God is not that lie that they phantom fairy tale ghost man that floats in the fucking ethers that they tell you about. I said I wouldn't use as much profanity, so I'm going to dial it back. Make sure you get your copy of Hey God, Wake the Fuck Up. That's why the colors are so bad on this. All right. It's because, all right. It's because, I think it's because of the damn. Still going to post it. All right. So, how have men caused the fall of the species? Men have chosen violence first because many of them are frustrated and afraid. So when a man says something like this, what this bearded guy is saying, this is a guy that's underlaid, underpaid, and underprayed. And if you're an underlaid, underpaid, underprayed guy, it means you're down on your money, you're down in your honey, which is the sweet that women like to give us, you know, that sexual stuff. And your spirituality is fucked up because you're using feminine spirituality instead of masculine spirituality. I'll make a whole video on that. If you want to know about masculine spirituality, check this out because even though it brings back feminine spirituality, you need something to push up against, right? Light and dark, day and night, you get what I'm saying. So men often choose violence because they're underlaid. They don't have enough good sex. They're underpaid. They're not making the money they deserve to make or should be making. And most importantly, they're underprayed. They've not been connecting with God. They're not listening to the source of life. They're not tapping into that superpower that drives the reality in which they find themselves. So most men are down in their money, honey, and spirituality. So men tend to be cowards. And so instead of looking in the mirror and loving themselves, having the courage to, stop the violence, they're cowards, and they only have the courage to spill their violence on their fellow men or on those they feel are their inferiors, which is their women and children. And look, okay, there are times, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to cop to it. There were times when I felt too weak. This was many years ago. I'm not this way anymore. But I felt too weak to deal with some of the stressors that I felt in my life. and I would come home frustrated and angry. And the slightest thing that my ex or my children would say would just cause me to just be angry and frustrated. Okay. And probably and definitely would act out in ways that were definitely not my highest. Okay. And a lot of us men do that, and that comes from cowardice. And it didn't help that you're being called a coward in the process. That never helps. But those were some of the things that definitely I can definitely relate to. I can't really relate to it because I'm not that person anymore. He died. But I can, I guess, intellectualize why a lot of men do this. I'm trying to do that in this video. A lot of men don't have the courage to face the real fear, to face the real demon. And we're going to talk about that in the next section. We're talking about how men will save the world. So instead of facing their bosses and facing the market or facing their clientele and just being themselves, and they're going to take it out on other men. And they're not going to take it out on other men, they'll take it out on the women in their life and their children. And in this case, where this guy is talking about he's going to, if you put your hands, if you hurt my daughter, and your body's going to disappear and they'll find your body. All right, man. Thanks for letting me know I need to kill you before I beat the shit out of your daughter. I mean, that's how a psychopath would think. They'd be like, oh, okay, well, thanks for letting me know that. Well, I guess you're going to have a heart attack in 2.5 years. Like, stupid. And so that's what men do. So instead of facing the fact that they're financially broke, they don't have a good relationship with God, they're not having the type of sex they want, connection they want, intimacy they want, they'll go to a bar, drink a beer, get into a fight, and then go back home bloodied and tired, and then sleep, go to their shit job, and then do it all over again. And so that's what a lot of men are doing, and that's ruined society. Men have been cowards. And, look, God will save us from all of that, and that's what salvation is, getting away from being a coward. So, and again, it's not all men, but it's a large majority of men. And this is happening now where men can't use that kind of violence anymore, and so instead they'll do shaming, blaming, like, oh, I'm with her, and I'm a feminist. Like, that's the new way of, beating the shit out of each other. Instead of like just saying like there are a lot of men that will be feminine, and this is changing because of Trump. Trump helped to change this, but there are a lot of men that will like become feminists and then run through a bunch of like female feminists and just be like, okay, that's how they got what they wanted. Instead of facing women head on and saying, these are my standards, I'm not going to deviate from that. And having a relationship with God allows you to have those standards, have courage, have integrity and character, and not deviate from it. But very few men have had that, and as a result, society has gone to the dogs. So men have to come to terms with that. I had to come to terms with that myself. I had to come to terms with that a couple of years ago and say, okay, all right, this is what I'm looking at, and I'm not doing the right thing, but I started to do the right thing, and God turned my whole life around 180 degrees. And then, it helped that I was out of the church for 20 years, so I cleansed myself of Babylon, the devil, and Satanism and Christianity, satanic Christianity. So I actually was able to live a full life, but here we go. So one of the other ways that men have led to the fall of the species is that men and fathers rescue women who put themselves in bad situations. And that's because men have been bred to do so and programmed to do so. The breeding of men to do that has come from women have beautified over the years. In the last 100 years, women have become en masse more beautiful. Physically beautiful, meaning a refinement of features, like a feminization of the species is taking place. There's all kinds of studies on it. Just type in feminization of the species, and you'll find a bunch of legitimate studies on this where they've shown that women over time, their faces have honestly, and it's weird, have actually infantilized a little bit. So they've actually become more childlike in their features. And men have too in the species. And this is just due to a lot of things like diet, beauty standards, breeding practices, and the like. So a woman that has more masculine features is less likely to get a mate than a woman who has more feminine or honestly childlike features, the larger eyes, smaller jaw, that sort of thing. And so men have been consistently bred over the last 150 years to kind of cater to these softer women, soft females. And as a result, it's led to men not thinking when they are confronted with a woman that puts herself in a bad situation. Look, and I used to do this. I used to, fortunately, unfortunately, I was in a situation where I'm extremely protective of people that I say are in my circle. Like, I'm like that guy with a beard. That's why I'm so kind of against him, because he reflects a lot of myself. If a man puts his hands on my daughter, it's the end of the world. I've changed, but I unfortunately at that time was extremely protective of my children, which was a very good thing as a father. You're supposed to be, but I had a partner that didn't respect that or appreciate that or allow that. This partner actually got in the way of that, hid things from me, these sorts of things I would find out years later and after the fact. I was like, wait, this happened, what? Okay, um, so you know, I was that kind of guy, so I get it. And I was the one that would rush to the ex's, my ex's aid or my children's aid, even if these were situations that I had nothing to do with and I didn't put myself in. Now, if it's a little children under the age of tween years, by all means, rescue them, save them, support them. That's the best thing to do. Do it. Rescue them, fight for them. Even if I have to use violence to protect them, by all means, do that. But, as they've gotten older, my kids are almost adults now, and as I've gotten older, I've started to pull back a bit, as a lot of men I think should, and I've started to recognize, okay, if you put yourself in a bad situation, and I've healed from those patterns, I'm not going to put myself in a bad situation, and uh, so that you can be rescued from it. You need to learn when you're young and you're pliable, so when you get older, you've already learned that lesson and moved on. Um, like I said, there are men that rescue women and women who put themselves in very bad situations, and that's because men disrespect women. It's not because women are so weak or women need help. Women don't need help, and they're not weak. They're extremely powerful, and they are very independent already. Women don't need to be independent. They've always been independent since they've existed. And so men disrespect women by seeing a woman in a bad situation that she's put herself in and then running to save her, running to rescue her. I always give the example of this girl that was, I won't keep telling that one because that one's kind of rough. But I've seen situations where women are dealing with violence, and I don't know how they got into that situation. And in the past, it was very hard for me to walk away from it and not deal with it, because as a man, you want to help women, but it goes back to the way we were bred. We were bred to do that, and programmed to do that from the time we're little boys. And so, especially if you're a beta, a nice guy, or a good man, a righteous man assesses the situation and always is selfish, rationally self-interested, especially if his children or his woman is around. He's not going to get into it. He's going to make sure they're safe, and he will call the authorities or let the authorities take care of whatever he's observing. Like I said, I've seen women, in a physical altercation with men, or the man is returning violence to her. Hands off. I am not dealing with it. So I don't know her. She's not part of my brood. So I'm not going to deal with it. Another way that men have caused the fall of the species, the final cause of the species fall, the final, I would cut this out if this was not alive, but I'm gonna just leave it in there. So in the final um, way that men have caused the fall of the species is that men choose women as mates, wives, and mothers of their children that are unfit for these positions. So, like Jesus said, you don't pick grapes from thorns or figs from thistles. All right. So let's go back to the feminization of the species. And again, just look up the studies. I'm not gonna. You got Google, you got AI, you got all kinds of ways to look this up. But I mean, these are legitimate studies. You can look at it. So cranial structure in the human, especially in the Western society, has infantilized and feminized. Men have feminized, women have infantilized. It's just because women look a little more like children, men look a little bit more like women. And so what has happened is over time we are breeding out a woman that looks like a Cro-Magnon Neanderthal is not likely to get a man that's going to impregnate her and, you know, and then stay around to help rear her children. I'm not going to go into what I was going to say about that, but there are certain communities where women have more masculine features, I'm going to leave it that way, and they tend to be more masculine generally, okay? And these women don't often have suitors or male providers and protectors that stay around. A lot of this has been it has been kind of artificially encouraged by governments like the United States and some others, and some of it is just the nature of breeding. So I can make a whole nother video on that another day. But getting to the point, men have chosen females that have been mates, wives, and mothers of their children that are unfit for those positions. There are women that are just dolls. They're just gorgeous. They literally look like a porcelain doll, and they're batshit crazy. They will ruin your children. They will mess up your money, and they will destroy your life. But they're so pretty. They're so cute. They're so lovely. And they're poison. So men, if they can, and we talk about hypergamy, how women fuck up. They always try to marry or breed with a man that's of a higher status in money, power, and the things that actually matter to women from men. So money, and power really are the things that matter. A woman always wants to marry a man with more money and power than she has. Women that don't want to do that don't breed, don't have kids, and they're just not part of the breeding the breeding population. They're outliers. Okay, most women want a man that's better than them, and so that's just kind of how it's been. Men do the same thing. Men want a woman that is physically better than them. They want the woman with the best body, the woman with the best face, the woman with all of that. Okay, all right. Noise. Anyway, it doesn't matter. All right. So that's kind of been what's led to the downfall of society. And if men, this is the last thing I'm going to say about that, if men pick women that have character, that are of high quality, that have a relationship with God, a real relationship with God, not that she goes to church, but that she has a real relationship with God. Going to church is the plus, but it's not the baseline. The baseline is that she has a relationship with God through Jesus Christ, meaning she actually is led by her higher self, the inner genius. Then that's the kind of woman you want. And look, if she's a 8 out of 10 in looks, but you meet a 10 out of 10 in looks who's a demon, then choose the 8 out of 10 or the 5 or the 6 out of 10, okay, over the one that's more attractive but has no soul. Because you get with that 5 out of 10 on attractiveness, sexual marketplace value, and she'll help you to build an empire. You'll have enough money to buy one of those 10 out of 10 women, because she'll be an AI robot that you can put in the basement that costs $50,000, and she'll say all the things to you, and she'll be made of silicone, and you won't have to worry about it. So obviously get with a woman you find attractive, but society standards have kind of led men to be stupid in choosing mates. And so those are the ways that men have led to the fall of the species. Men have chosen violence because they are lacking in many areas of their life. They're underpaid, underlaid, underprayed. Men rescue women who put themselves in bad situations, who don't deserve rescue. They need to just be women, be strong, and create a better life for themselves. And then men choose women or females, I should say. Let me correct that. Females as mates, wives, and mothers that are really just not. They're useless. Yeah, absolutely useless. They're good to look at. And soon enough, that's going to change, because with AI and quantum computing, when they scale down the computer small enough and they put these things into automatons made of silicon or even biologically grown bodies, you will have a gorgeous 10 out of 10 woman that you can program to say and do whatever you want. And I think that's less than 50 years away. It's probably 30. I'll say let me be crazy and say it's 5 to 10 years away. We already have those now that are like, you can get them for 20,000. Maybe I'll make a video about that. You can look this stuff up. You'll find it. It's real, and I've seen this stuff. I've been in some weird worlds. Okay, I've seen some weird things, and I'm just sharing it with you guys, sharing with you what the 1% does, and what they have, and what we have, I should say. All right. So, how men can save the race once and for all. 5 ways that we're going to save the human race. Make sure you drop a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that other stuff in here. As we get to the last half of this video, we're at 30 minutes, and I was hoping to be a little shorter than this, but I kind of got on some tangents, and it is what it is. So men can save the race once and for all when we face our fears within. That's the number one thing. We've got to look in the mirror, and we have to know what our fears are and come to terms with those. Find our authentic selves. The second thing we must do is learn to love the man in the mirror. When you love the man in the mirror, you're not going to put him in danger for anyone who doesn't deserve it. If your wife doesn't deserve it, she's just going to flounder and deal with her own shit. If a random woman, female on the street doesn't deserve it, she's going to deal with it. You're never going to put yourself in a bad position. And guess what that does in society? The more men that take care of themselves and allow women to allow females, I'm going to start correcting that, because women are powerful, women have courage, women have quality, women have character. But females don't. Females just exist, okay? So I'm fixing that. But when you love yourself as a man, you will allow a female to deal with her shit. And guess what happens when a female deals with her shit? She gets better. Or she doesn't reproduce. She gets removed from the census. I'll put it that way. All right? The third thing that we are doing as men and fathers that will lead to this golden age is that we are exorcising our demons, not exorcising them. We're exorcising them. Now, if you meet a female that's a demon, you're exorcising her. You're meaning getting rid of her. You're keeping her out of your life. But there are things within us that people refer to as demons. Our lusts, our desires, our violence, all these things. You want to exercise them. You want to develop them. You want to refine them. You want to refine the demons within yourself so that they can be your tools. They can be things, instruments that you can use to improve your life and improve society. Generosity is a great thing, but if you have nothing to give, it's a demon. So you have to refine your sense of generosity. All right. The fourth thing that men must do is we must choose women who we must choose. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna fix this. I wrote this up real quick. I'll do it now. We must choose female. I'll leave that as women. We must choose women. And these are women, these are females who deserve our time, attention, money, and affection. No female just deserves your time and affection because she exists. Because she's got that honey, that sweet, sweet. Men have lowered their standards so much that that's a no. Oh, she shows up, she's got a body and a sweet, sweet, and she's giving me access to it. Okay, she can be a part of my life and my time. Nope. She can give you that all she wants, but what else is she bringing to the table? Is she bringing a soul to the table? Is she bringing a relationship with God to the table? And no, she doesn't have to be righteous, holy shamoly, a Mennonite girl, Amish girl. She doesn't have to be that. But, is she like a woman that is a woman, has courage, integrity, character, accountability? Like, the only way that women will have accountability is we expect it and require it, and we will not marry them unless they have it. Men are the guardians of marriage, period. Hands down, full stop. Men are the guardians of marriage. And women want to get married. Oh, you want to get married to me? Okay, you don't have accountability. Come back to me in 5 years. If I don't marry somebody else in that 5-year period and you have accountability in 5 years, then let's talk. Otherwise, I'm not going to fuck with you. I'm not going to waste my life on you. All right? So choose females who deserve our time, attention, money, and affection. And these females are called women because they have character. They have a relationship with God. And the fifth thing that we are doing to uplift the race once and for all, the human race, is to put God first and always. And I put this last because save the best for last. Always put God first. Always put God first. Not the sky phantom of the church, but the power that actually moves worlds. The consciousness underlying reality. The transcendent totality, the animating principle, that which moves the unmoved mover, the Almighty, the God of all gods, the God and Lord of all. Put God first. God is closer to you than your own breath. Get to know God. Put God first. And so that's what I have to say about that. Thank you for watching, y'all. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment below. Men put God first. Women put God first. But before you do that, you need to know who God is. And the best way to know who God is to spend time with God. And that means the following. That means getting in prayer, meditation, taking time for solitude, Get in this beautiful, beautiful book called God's Holy Word, the Bible. And don't let society lie to you. This does not belong to the Jews or the Christians. It belongs to humanity. This belongs to humanity. Don't let anybody lie to you. All right? This belongs to humanity. This is your heritage as a human being. All right? And the last thing is fellowship. Get with people that have the mind of Christ. And you might not find them in the church. You might not find them in the cathedral or the synagogue or the masjid or the fucking temple or whatever, the shrine. Okay? You may find them in places you wouldn't expect. Let God lead you. Put God first. Let God lead you. All right. May you have a life of prosperity, purpose, pleasure, peace, productivity, power, and purity. God bless.